You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
We've all been there, right? Playing a gig to an unappreciative audience? Or even worse, no audience at all. We all know that sometimes what's needed is a little push, someone to take the lead with the applause, and then the credits start rolling in. Or hey, maybe you just want to practice performing to a crowd without the pressure of judgment. We've all been there too. There's a big difference between rehearsing in front of a mirror and putting yourself out there in front of real people. Well, friend, we have you covered. Here at Autumno's Automated Audiences, we have a whole host of holodroid remotes that can project a responsive crowd to help you get the experience you need. Each remote can project up to 4 sentience from our starter pack of species, with more species available from a small cost. These holos can be pre-programmed with set responses or allowed to react more organically depending upon the complexity of the droid brain in the remote. And what's more, you can network unlimited numbers together to really fill that stadium. Available for rent or purchase at reasonable prices, with custom options depending on your need and tailored to your wallet, Autumno's Automated Audience guarantee you the appreciation you deserve. Find us on the HoloNet or in one of our distribution centers on Coruscant, Naboo, Chandrila and Corellia, and use discount code AUTUMNOS27 for a 10% discount on your first rental.
Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 11 of the Coldfire Chronicles. My name is Adam and I am the GM for this heist, for this this cataclysm of despairs that we're currently suffering through. The Crave show that is this heist. And I am joined around the table by...
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune and I play the character of Oberon Brick. He is a human hunter-seeker. His emotional strength is justice and his emotional weakness is cruelty.
Hi, I'm Mim. I play Lasa. She's a human sentinel artisan. Her emotional strength is her curiosity, but her weakness is obsession.
Hi, I'm Ross. I play Agatha, a Morailan warrior aggressor colossus whose emotional strength is his pride, but whose weakness is his obsession.
Hi, I'm Mikey. I play Jiren, a Chiss mystic advisor. His emotional strength is his enthusiasm, but his emotional weakness is his recklessness.
And we are just going to go straight back into the action this episode rather than diverting with a curious question, because the heist, Operation Wiggly Worm, is not going as planned. A Star Destroyer, summoned by parties unknown, has appeared in the skies above Port Haven. Cyphus Gantares, the operative for the Orkol Collective, is currently locked in the panic room beneath the compound. How long for is unclear. Our heroes have managed to steal a significant sum of money and are in the process of moving down to steal a ship when, at the far end of the corridor, hoving into view, are 3 burly security droids. Their left hands are blaster pistols which are glowing with energy, their right hands are clutching stun batons, and they are advancing upon our heroes, and we are going straight into initiatives. It's going to be, I think, vigilance tests rather than cool. Agatha, you can either roll cool or vigilance because you were waiting, and you also get 2 boost die because you were prepped for something to go down.
4 success, 2 advantage.
2 success for me.
Just 1 success.
1 success and 2 advantage, and also 2 of the party now have a free manoeuvre as they get a flash of insight from Oberon. Basically, your collective spider senses go off. I'd like to spend 1 of those to open a briefcase and pull out a weapon.
Okay. You will not have been able to have brought your rifle, I imagine, but you can certainly have brought your pistols.
Yes. So the party has a free manoeuvre. One of you has a free manoeuvre, so you can not be called cop.
Lasa is not going to use those manoeuvres because she's very focused on the computer system still.
Yeah, it's you two, because we can flash back to the limo, and in the back of the limo there is a pistol.
It's Jiren's pistol once again just being left around this galaxy. Yeah, fair. Like, I'm not even mad.
That's so Jiren. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
So, Agatha, you can have the second manoeuvre. At present, they are at medium range from you. It is taken as read that Agatha has alerted the rest of the party, and those of you that aren't Mim are not attached to the computer terminal. You know, it's if only because Oberon's spidey sense has gone. Something's about to happen.
Oh, is still a number of doors between us and the droids?
Yes, the doors are open at present, and you're medium range.
I'm going to just reclose the doors. How's that?
I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think some of those doors are really going to cut it with these droids. From the description of them.
From where you are, there's two sets of doors. There's the doors in the room that you're in, which is the director's room, which you can shut. There is the doors on the other side of the admin room, which you can't shut, unless you either shoot the doors using Star Wars door logic, or use your manoeuvre to move to short range and shut those doors.
I'm just going to say that we do need to get past these droids to get down to the lift. Is that right, Adam?
That is right, yes.
Yeah, so let's not close the doors, because that's just going to slow everything down.
There's also no way out of the room you're in except through the doors, so you can lock yourself in here, but I'm not sure what you'd achieve.
And isn't it a glass door, a frosted glass door? Because you
This one is,
described it
yeah.
earlier. Yes, that's it. Woohoo!
Yeah, let's not close the doors. And Ross, you're our fighter. Do fighting.
I'm trying to protect us all. That's part of the thing I've got in mind here. But yeah, my thinking instead is, okay, if that's my list of options, then my actions are get to them before they start shooting and then start hitting them.
What you could do is you could potentially move to short range and shut the doors and stay on this side so that they've got to open the doors and you can bushwhack them as they step through.
Let's be tactical about it. Let's do that.
Okay. So yeah, you charge over, you close the range, you hit the door release, and that closes the doors to the admin room. So, for theatre of the mind purposes, if you picture the donut, the right-hand corner is the room with the secure turbo lift down to the panic room in. That is where these three droids have just entered to come into sight. The doors to that room are closed, and Agatha has his back to the wall. On the inside of that room, that is the administration room, and he's ready and waiting. At the other side of the administration room is the director's office. The frosted glass doors are open and the rest of the party are in Cyphus's office. For initiative purposes, the order of business is 1 NPC for I Got a Triumph,
Ooh.
3 player characters, then 2 NPCs, then the final player character. Positioning wise, Agatha, you are at short range from them on the other side of the doors. The rest of you are medium range from them because you're on the far side of the complex, effectively.
Somebody else gets a manoeuvre as well, don't they?
Yes, one of the droids moves forward and basically goes to the other side of the doors for their free manoeuvre. So you two are presently separated by a hair. So it is an NPC turn to go first. And the droid that used their free manoeuvre to move over to the doors opens the doors and steps into the room. Agatha, they have not at this stage realised that you're hiding behind the door. They draw a bead with their blaster down the hallway and fix on Oberon, who is standing there kind of pulling these blasters out and getting into position. Ed, they're going to attempt to pot you.
Yep.
Have you got your armour on?
That's what I was about to ask. I am not got my armour on. I'm currently wearing tweed.
I think the only one of us who's armoured at the moment is Agatha.
Yeah, I'm wearing space tweed. So I don't know if that counts. I'm assuming not.
That only counts as armour in the class wars, I'm afraid.
Oh dear.
And they are presently, this one is short range from you because they've moved in. That is to open festivities for success and advantage and a triumph. So what happens is this. First of all, Ed, that is before soak, 10 stun damage as they're shooting you on stun setting. So you drop your soak off that and that comes off your strain rather than your wounds. For the triumph, as that stun bolt hits you, it sends you shaking and you drop whichever weapon is in your right hand. I'll let you decide if that's your pistol or your lightsaber, hits the ground by your side. And the advantage is they're going to pass on a boost to the next droid to go as they've opened up this heavy assault. It's a player turn. Agatha, there is one right by the side of you who hasn't noticed you, who's just shot Oberon.
I want to grab that one and stop it from shooting any further.
So do you want to use your manoeuvre just to aim normally then, to get yourself a boost die?
Yeah, just aim normally. Engage with it.
I will also let you, as an incidental if you want, shut the doors again. Because you're right by the boop, to isolate them, which means that the other droids, who will be going after all of you barring one, still then have to move in and open the doors and make their way in. It basically isolates this one on their own for the moment to be taken down.
Yeah, okay, so I definitely want to shut the doors so we're only dealing with one of them at a time. I've got 5 success and 2 threat, but I've also got 2 light side and a dark side. I can simply use the light side to just cancel out the 2 threat, so 5 success to hit.
Okay, so what's your damage?
Damage for Vibro Knuckles is 4.
So that's 9 damage in total, and what's... they are Pierce, aren't they?
Pierce 1.
Pierce 1. What does that look like? The droid isn't down, but they are seriously injured and the sparks flying, so what does that look like?
Agatha's just leapt into this droid from the side. It's a grapple, it's a brawl, so he can't really be accurate about exactly what bits are going to be damaged, but I'm sure at the minute he wants to take out, if he can, the armament, the stun baton, because that's the first thing that's going to be used directly against him, and the rifle that's going to be used against everybody else. I'm going to prioritise against the rifle, because Agatha thinks he's tough enough to look after himself.
Okay, so you kind of run in, punch him in the elbow to try and break that limb off, and...
Yeah, so punch the door, at least to smash the door, and then just grapple it from the side, and basically try and throw it as much off balance, off to the side, just anything which stops it getting a straight shot, and rip holes out of it.
So yeah, there's sparks flying from it, some of its armour's been torn and exposed. It's not looking well. Next player character.
That can be me.
I'm happy going last because I'm trying to do computer stuff before I join in with the fight still, so...
I've got an idea that will actually help you as well, Mim, so if I can go before you, yeah, that's great.
Okay, so I had the proper gun, the antique blaster in my right hand.
So that's on the floor then.
So that's on the floor, because I'm more comfortable with an actual pistol, so that would make more sense. So I transfer the lightsaber to my right hand whilst activating it, clicking it into place, so it is no longer a pistol, it is now a lightsaber, which will turn on, and I will charge one of the droids.
Yeah, there's only one droid in the room at the moment, which Agatha is locked into combat with, but you certainly can. I'll let you sort out your thing, 'cause it's all an incidental. Your manoeuvre to engage, and then it's 2 purple, 2 setback are your difficulty to strike it.
So the setback dice came up blank. That's good. That is 1 success.
That's enough.
Yeah, that's good. Believe me, 1 success is really good.
There's a slight look of surprise, actually, where, like, he miscalculates and he's absolutely convinced that he's missed. And, like, he closes his eyes to, like, as, you know, something awful happens, and then briefly opens them to realise that it's gone through.
I know the damage of your lightsaber, especially with breach. That is enough to take this droid out. So what does that look like then as you dismember as you destroy this droid that Agatha's locked up?
So he sees Agatha, and as he charges, there's a moment where he's absolutely convinced that he's overcommitted. He drops to one knee and, like, it kind of closes his eyes as it goes through, because he doesn't want to see if it goes wrong.
Or if you accidentally hit Agatha.
Yeah, exactly. What it looks like is he's hit a moment of perfect zen, so it looks completely badass. But what's going on in his head is, oh Criff, oh Criff, oh Criff. Then, then in 2 parts, and it just falls apart.
I am really going to hope that you intended to do that.
Of course.
Good. Thank you very much. Please point it at the other droids.
Next player character. So the remaining droids are on the other side of the closed doors, so not in your immediate line of sight.
Okay, so here's my logic, and I'll be wanting to spend a light side point coming up, but I'll explain the logic of it first to see if you agree with it. You remember when we walked into reception? And we walked into reception and we noticed the slight shimmering of a defence shield.
Yes.
This is a criminal enterprise. I imagine that Cyphus also has a similar sort of thing set up on his desk. So I step behind the desk, I'm going to spend a light side point, and put my hand underneath the desk to look for a panic button, and click the defensive shields on to protect myself and Lasa.
There is a click and a reassuring hum, and where the frosted glass doors are, suddenly, directly behind them, basically across that entire wall, comes the reassuring iridescent soap bubble effect of a defensive shield protecting this room from blaster fire.
I knew there'd be something around here. Click.
But I think that's probably going to take your turn, if that's all right, because you've got to move around and then start fiddle-faddling around.
Maneuver to get to the desk and then maneuver to press the button, and the light side to have the button exist.
I have this mental image of also, like, the next time we see Jiren, he has a cigar in his mouth because he's also found the button that opens the humidor.
Oh, I'm pressing more buttons, I'll tell you that. If there are them, I'm pressing them all.
I mean, Agatha's just pleased at this point that Lasa can't possibly get annoyed with him for this fight.
I believe in you, don't worry.
Would you like to flip a light side point? So, right.
I mean, it can't possibly be Agatha's fault this time. Not right now.
It is an NPC's turn, and the first of the droids moves over, hits the door release button, slides the door open, and steps in. Sees Agatha, sees Oberon, fixes Oberon with a gaze, and says, "Restrain the prodigal, restrain the prodigal, restrain the prodigal," and attempts to hit you in the face with a stun baton, Ed.
Okay, I have defense too because I have a lightsaber.
Yeah, you have defense and deflect too with your lightsaber because it's all about the defense. Good news, bad news.
Okay.
The bad news, first of all, is that's 3 success and a triumph.
Okay, I think that's me stunned.
I think it is you stunned. That is 7 stun damage before soak.
Okay. My soak is 3.
So that's 4 strain then.
I think that's 1 over my limit. My strain's only 12.
So yeah, so you cap out at 12 and you hit the ground unconscious.
Bum. I'm assuming that the shutdown on the lightsaber goes.
Yes.
And like it doesn't, like, I don't accidentally just like laser sword my way through the floors of the door.
No, it has effectively a dead man's or unconscious man's switch, as the case may be. The triumph is going to be to upgrade the attack of the second droid. It barrels in, smites you upside the head, Ed, tasing you out and sending you kind of skittering against the computer console as it steps in. The good news is that it got 4 threat, which is a significant amount of threat. So, players, I don't know what you want to do with that threat. You can strip the defense entirely from either this droid or the next droid to go. You could have the lightsaber for 1 threat skitter close enough that Ross could pick it up for an incidental as a free action. If that's something you wanted to do, I don't know, you've got 4 threat to play with. What would you like to happen?
Personally and narratively, I quite like the idea of stripping the defense for the next one because there's been an order happened, it has been successful, so it's kind of almost shut down waiting for the next orders, so its defense is gone. It for a second just goes, well, we've done that, and then Agatha clocks it one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's 3 of its threat, if you want to do that. That makes sense to me. There is still a threat remaining.
I mean, I definitely don't want the lightsaber damaged. I'm just wondering, I think Agatha's probably better off just hitting it with everything he's got rather than picking up the lightsaber, because that's not his skill.
Yeah, lightsabers tend not to damage very easily. I mean, they fall from great heights traditionally and are fine, so we should be alright.
Yeah, the lightsaber is not harmed. The lightsaber is fine.
Is it worth the lightsaber going closer to the door where we are? Because Jiren could probably use it.
I mean, yeah, whatever.
I mean, you've already lost 1 arm. What's the worst that could happen?
No, I'm staying here behind the shield.
I imagine a strain or something. It'd be simpler if I just picked up the lightsaber on my way as I manoeuvre into the second droid I'm going to hit.
You can have a boost to clock the one that's got no defense if that's what you want, then.
Yeah, and if I can aim it towards the third one, that would be great. But we'll see if that's what advantages I get from hitting it, I suppose.
It's the second droid to go.
Ah, yes, it did. I mean, yeah, I'll strip its defenses and, yeah, a boost for me to kick it.
When it comes back round to you, okay. The second droid moves in, notices that Oberon is unconscious on the floor, and says, "The prodigal is unconscious. Neutralize colleagues," and turns to look at you, Agatha, and is going to attempt to hit you. Now, you also have defense at the moment because you're still under the effects for this turn of Oberon's 4C. Do you have any other melee defense from your gear?
I normally have a melee defense of 1.
Then I think that's probably still because of all of them, your clothes was designed to be similarly kind of armoured. So, well, the dice certainly like you more than like Ed. That is a failure and a threat. No, a failure and an advantage. So the advantage is going to be, it's a bouncing boost for the droids, effectively. The next droid to go will get a boost die as part of their momentum as their protocols shift to neutralising the prodigal's associates. Mim, it is your turn.
Okay, so I'm still focused on... I know I can open the roof and everything at the press of a button. Are there any additional locks or any additional doors or things that need opening to give us access to the ship? If I can find out the correct way to the ship.
Yep, that's pretty simple. So effectively there are technically 3 ways if you want to, use Agatha's force leap to just jump out of the window and land on the ship. But for the rest of you, option 1 is down this corridor, down the turbo lift that leaves the panic room and get off on the ground floor.
Right.
Option 2 is the lift you came in, or the stairs by that lift, again to the ground floor and then in. It looks like there have been some locks put in place as a result of the panic kind of coming in, but you do have your keycard to get through those, so that shouldn't really be a major issue. So I'm not going to have you roll to find that route. What you might want to do as part of this, though, which would take a roll, is open the cargo bay doors downstairs so that Prinkle can drive in with the speeder and your gear ready to where the ships are.
That would be cool.
Okay, and I'll get on comms for Prinkle. It is 1 success and 3 advantage.
So, yeah, all the locks in between you and this way are open. Prinkle has been commed.
I'm on my way, Lasa. Do not panic. I will be here soon.
And the cargo bay doors open, ready for him to drive in with the speeder. What would you like for those advantages?
Like I said, this seems a bit vague, but is there anything, any interestingly named files that might look like they have something super useful, like automatic Steve Uber kill if the boss comes to hurt us? Like secret plan for if the bricks come to destroy us, or anything like that.
So what I'm hearing is you want to spend some advantage on non-specific plot foreshadowing files to be gone through at a later date. Is that what I'm hearing? Because I'm cool with that if you want, and then you can go through them at your leisure on the ship when you finally get out of here.
Yes, I think that, because once I get away from this computer, I'm not going to be able to go back to it. So basically my 2 options are, and I'm telling this to the group.
There is a third option. The third option is basically a system shred. So that all of his programming, all of their financial records that you haven't stole, just because he's the kind of cagey programmer who will have put in basically the Deltree Windows kind of Bobby Tables command, where he just purges everything so there's nothing incriminating. If you want to start, I say 1 advantage to basically pull some useful files, 2 advantages to hit system shred, because that also achieves your aim of burning this operation down.
It does.
Also, he can't defend himself once you shred the files. We've already planted the evidence of corruption, and now he can't prove that it wasn't him.
And I've still got the Steve shutdown on button and door open on button, so let's go for that then. I'm going to shred all his files and take a little bit of... Oh, that one looks like an interesting file. I'm just going to download that onto my slate before I do so.
Okay.
To be looked at later.
His system begins to start to shred itself and kicks you out.
Alright, well that ought to do for the booger.
Are we done?
This computer is basically just a piece of metal now. Everything that he's made, everything he's created, destroyed, gone.
Excellent.
Apart from this, and she shows him a few files. These look interesting, and I want to know more about them later. I don't know what they're going to do.
Back to the top of initiative, and it is an NPC to go. And I think that the droid that hit you, Agatha, is going to attempt to continue to hit you.
Yep.
Ross, these dice love you. That is a failure but 2 advantage for this droid. It's going to use those 2 advantage. I think, it's going to give you a setback die to hit the other droid, or to hit your next target, because this droid is just all up in your grill, smashing about you with its stun baton. You're just about managing to fend its strikes off, but it's throwing you a little bit off balance and meaning that you're not going to be able to get a really solid blow back. You're on your back foot. This thing is coming at you hard. First player character.
I mean, I think I want to go first and retaliate. So this is against the one that still has a defense, because it's the one that's coming at me.
This is the one that still has a defense currently, yes. So you are on 3 setback die because it's got you off balance. So it's 2 purple, 3 setback.
Right, I'm going to be trying, because I'm already engaged with this thing, but I'm going to be trying maneuver it as possible to try and keep the droids away from Oberon.
Okay.
Because, well, they've got him down. I don't want them to be able to pick him up or anything. I want them to turn and take him away or anything.
I think we might need to see whether or not you get any advantage, really, to be able to position yourself in that way. Would you like to use your normal manoeuvre to aim then to give you a boost, and therefore that can be the narrative way as you're trying to interpose yourself between these droids and Oberon while still...
Yeah, there's an intention of also... Yeah, I will aim that.
Yeah.
Right, at the moment, it's 1 failure, and that's it. But I do have a light side point and a dark side point. So unless I use the dark side point, that's a failure, isn't it?
Yeah, you'd need to use both of those to make it into a success.
I think I'm going to use this... he's going to tap his... It's pushing past his reserves. You've knocked my friend down, and I'm going to damage you.
Okay, so you don't need to flip, but it does cost you a strain, and it will tag you into a conflict, which I'll keep track of.
So, again, I mean, that's 4 damage and a pierce 1, but I'm taking the success as I've kept it away from Oberon.
That isn't wildly effective. You hit into it a couple of times, but again, because it's knocked you off balance with the ferocity of its assault, you are struggling to regain that momentum to push it back. You have managed to position yourself a bit between it and Oberon. There's no advantage there, so it's not going to hamper it too much, but you are at least at the moment making yourself a credible threat, we shall say.
Yeah.
Next player character.
Shall I go next? Seeing as Ed's unconscious and Mim is... So, as mentioned before, Jiren looks over towards Lasa and says, "So, we're done here, right?"
I reckon so.
All right. While he's doing that, he's very cheerfully pushing his pocket square into the top of the bottle of whiskey we already mentioned. He then lights it and throws it into the drinks cabinet. Okay, let's go. And starts heading towards the door after pressing the button.
I was done with the computer, but look at all the kit. I could... What the...
You are aware that there's these 2 droids in between you getting away, though, right?
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, the fire is at medium range from these droids, or at least close range from these droids, so it's fine. We're just going to go that way.
Yeah, okay.
So many nice things. I mean, look at the droid programming suites. They're just perfect.
We'll buy you another one. Come on.
The fire starts licking up.
Adam, recklessness. Remember recklessness?
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to do?
No, I'll turn off the shield and head towards the door to where the altercation is. Come on.
So, Mim, it's you to go, because Ed is currently unconscious.
Are there any convenient to grab weapons or...
You can crush droids with your mind, remember?
I'd also like to point out that there's an antique laser pistol on the floor.
Yeah, in the room where you are.
Right. I'm going to pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one manoeuvre to move in and grab it. And with that pistol then, because I am imagining that I don't have my own little pistol that I normally have. No weapons will be came in here.
Not unless you want to flip a light side point to have smuggled it in, but I'll be honest, your blaster pistol is not as good as Ed's antique special blaster. I can guarantee that.
That's fine. So tottering out the room in a pencil skirt and heels with a pistol.
I mean, if you want to flick your heels off, I don't think anyone's going to judge you.
If you ever run barefoot through a workshop, you don't know what you're going to tread on. It ain't safe. I mean, you can either break your ankle or impale your foot. I'm just telling you. There was a whole spiel when she got these heels about how it was going to be really annoying. So one manoeuvre to pick up the gun, and there's still 2 droids left.
There's 2 droids, one that is locked in combat with Agatha, and they are kind of going back and forth in front of the door. The other one is the one that dropped Oberon and is standing over Oberon, and Agatha's kind of knocked it a bit to the side, but it is still there over Oberon. The main benefit of trying to shoot that one is A, that has no defence, and B, it's not locked in combat with Agatha, therefore won't upgrade to a red.
Yeah, but you see, one is in combat with Agatha.
I mean, when we did this flashback, I was just thinking, is a sharp tongue considered a weapon?
You can just see her slightly point the gun at Agatha and then go, nobody would know. Yeah, she's going to point the pistol at the one that has downed Oberon and pull the trigger.
It is at short range from you. It has no defence. I'm flipping a dark side point, so your difficulty is a single red.
So that is 3 success and 1 threat.
Ed, is your pistol superior?
I was just trying to say it's a superior weapon, which means it has an automatic advantage on all checks related to its use. And its damage is 9.
So the superior will cancel out the threat. And how many success was it?
3.
3, so that's 12 damage. Your blaster bolt, I mean, this thing's got a kick to it. Punches a hole through the droid over Oberon. It does not destroy it, but it does significant damage to it. And again, you see the sparks kind of flying out of this hole in its torso.
Wow. I've never shot anything and had such an impact. This is a good gun. It's nice. I like it.
You do appear, unfortunately, to have had your desired effect of getting its attention, however, as it looks up at you, lowers its own blaster pistol hand, and attempts to reciprocate.
Oh, bloody hell.
You can spend a light side point to upgrade its difficulty if you want.
Guys, I think I probably should, because I'm quite squishy.
Go for it.
So I'm going to do that, please, to
Yeah.
help myself out a little bit. I mean, we're all quite squishy, but
But you are very squishy.
I'm an old woman.
That comes to 1 success and 2 advantage. The red die did come up for you. It got a failure and a threat on there, so that's not too bad.
Woohoo.
So it has pegged you,
All right.
which has done to you 8 stun damage,
So I have got four strain left.
and for its 2 advantage, it is going to take a second manoeuvre, which is to drop on one knee, grab Oberon and throw Oberon over its shoulder. It is still on one knee and down, but it's got Oberon in a fireman's carry in the hand that has the baton.
Oh, we're not having that.
And then it would be a player slot, but I'm afraid, Oberon, at present you remain unconscious.
I will drool to my full manoeuvring round and, slightly snooze.
It is an NPC's turn next, because we're back at the top of initiative again. And I think the droid that is locked in combat with Agatha is going to carry on trying to take out Agatha. That seems a reasonable thing for it to do at the moment.
Yep.
Ross, my dice love you as much as Mim's dice hate her. That is a failure and 3 threat. So what would you like to do with its threat? Strip its defence off?
I would like to strip its defences, but I would like it ideally to sort of line up with the other droid, because I would like to knock one into the other to stop the second one from carrying Oberon away.
Well, maybe that's how you've stripped its defence. You've positioned it awkwardly, so that depending on what you roll when you attack, you might well be able to do that.
Yeah, this might not work.
Yeah, it just can't seem to land a blow on you.
Yeah. So it's moving me against the wall, and I'm going to sort of kick back against the wall and just use that to propel forwards and try and ideally punch through both of them in one shot.
It's a player slot, so would you like to go next then?
Unless Mim wants to shoot the first one, the other one first.
I mean, I am happy to do that because I'm not going to shoot it. Now it's picked up Oberon and there's a real reason for her to get a little bit angry.
You can spend more time aiming at it.
No, I'm not going to shoot it. I'm going to harm it with force power as I try and make it stop.
I'm game for you to do that first.
Okay, Mim.
Since she doesn't do it very often, thank you for letting me do this and showcase it. So having seen this droid pick up Oberon, she's very much of the, I need to stop this. So the user may spend light or dark side to harm a number of wounds ignoring soak equal to his intellect in an engaged droid. The user gains 1 conflict.
Yes, I think the initial way we allowed this to work was that you could make a mechanics test as an attack. But now with this, basically all you need to do is move into it, which is a manoeuvre, and then roll your force rating, and that's the damage it does. It's effectively force harm. But yes, it's only for droids, as you cause cascading systemic failures inside your mechanical pals.
So this is very much going to be aimed at the droid's legs.
Yep.
In a horrible way. You can almost see Lasa's foot stamping on the floor as she reaches out to try and break the droid's leg. That's 4 light side points.
somehow.
That's the best roll I've had all day.
I think we were working it like harm, which means that it does your intellect and damage through, and then you need the upgrades for it to do more than that. So that basically lets you then spend 1 for 1 for extra stuff, because otherwise harm gets grotesque. Yeah, because it's not quite how the power should work, it's your special version of it. So you only need to spend 1 of those pips, but that will do... What's your intellect?
3.
That will do 3 wounds straight through its soak, which is enough to take out the one that's carrying Oberon. So what does that look like?
So she might have originally been aiming for the leg, but you can see as she's kind of reached out to try and crush it, she's ended up ripping it more apart. There's already a hole from where it's been shot, so what she's ended up doing is kind of metaphorically punching through that hole again and ripping some more. And you can see it crumbling and crushing a bit into itself before the lights start to die and it falls to the floor and drops Oberon.
Yep. And both Oberon and the droid collapse to the ground. Next player character.
Okay, now I'd like to hit it. I'm going to, again, try to give myself a boost, but I know all I'm trying to do at this point is just topple the one that's attacking me and trying to hurt me.
Okay.
Okay, at the end of that, I've got 3 light side points and 3 advantage. So, yes, certainly I'm going to spend 1 of them to make it into a success. I'm just wondering whether it's worth spending the other 2 to get further advantage, or...
I don't know. I always suggest for you pumping into successes because you don't do much damage against things that aren't minions, bluntly.
Yeah, okay, in that case, 3 successes then.
And your 3 advantage to crit, maybe? Or keep its defense stripped, or...
Let's go make it critical, because I've got to kill it first.
You don't do enough damage to kill this in 1 hit.
Yeah, okay.
You're great against minions, but you're not great against not minions, because that's not the way that you are as Agatha. So there's 3 successes, so plus your damage, which is then...
Which was 4.
It's 7 damage, pierce 1. Okay, it's still up. It is not looking particularly well. There's sparks fizzing off it from where your vibro knuckles are slammed into it. Armour plates have been torn off a little bit as you're pummeling in. And you would like to crit with your 3 advantage. What's the crit rating of your vibro knuckles?
2.
So that will then leave you an advantage to do something else with. Get a strain back, give a bouncing boost.
A strain back would be nice. Or, no, I'll give a bouncing boost, because whoever's going to hit it next.
And do you want me to roll your crit?
Yeah, I can do.
It is winded. It cannot voluntarily suffer strain to activate abilities or gain additional manoeuvres, which being a creature that doesn't have strain, it can't suffer wounds to basically get extra manoeuvres or anything like that. As effectively, the damage you have done to it have clearly smashed in some of its servo motors and its ability to move. It is Jiren's turn.
Okay. Jiren is going to ignore the droid. He doesn't do all of this murder nonsense. I'm at short range from them at the moment because I moved to the door last turn. I'm going to set my manoeuvre to go to engaged with Oberon, pulling out of my pocket a calming salve, and I'm going to slap it on him and push my force power for him to try and wake him up.
Okay.
It's a force rating, and for every pip I get, he gets a strain back. And I'm going to do knowledge is power to get to force rating 3, and fingers crossed.
Nice.
Okay, I'm not going to use the dark side. Ed, you've got 1 strain back, but it should, hopefully, wake you up.
Take a deep breath, bolt upright in a kind of sort of way, as if I've just been jolted.
And you wake up just in time to take your initiative slot, Ed.
I'm sat down, aren't I? Because I've literally just sat down.
You are.
You have a gel pack on your forehead, and Jiren is looking down at you and says, "It's no time to rest, we need to leave."
Ed, you can hear fire and smell smoke coming from the director's office just behind you.
I go straight into my training, so where's my weapon?
It's on the floor near to you.
Grab the weapon, look for the target.
It's currently engaged with Agatha. Technically engaged with you, kind of technically-ish, but you're on the floor, so...
Okay, I'll ignite the lightsaber as I stand up and cut off its legs.
Yep, okay, I'll allow that as part of it. It's near enough to you that you can grab it as an incidental. And then, your manoeuvre to raise to your feet and hit it.
I should say, Ed, that you can most definitely see the glee and the chaos in Jiren's eyes as the fire glints off them. You know he set this fire. You know it.
So it's 2 purple. Ed is your difficulty. There are no setbacks because its armour has still been stripped by Agatha, whomping into it. I think I'm going to spend a dark side point, however, for the sheer deviltry of what's going on.
This could go very badly wrong. Yeah, I've only got 2 green for the lightsaber because
Unless you want to spend the light side points back to upgrade.
Right, can I spend the light side point?
Yeah, we've got 4. Go for it.
1 disadvantage, 2 successes, and a triumph.
Woohoo!
These successes are enough to take this droid out. It didn't have a lot of wounds left, and that breach is grotesque for cutting these things apart. I'm not going to be harsh and give you a strain for your threat, because while I love the visuals of you surging to your feet with this sword and cutting it in half, going ha-ha, and then falling back unconscious, I think that is a little bit meaner than I want to be at present. So what I'm going to do with that threat is going to go into another clock. It is a 6 clock, one of which is ticked, which is the Empire locates you.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Because the smoke that's rising out from here will soon enough start being a beacon. So that is 1 of 6 ticked for the Empire know where you are. What would you like for your triumph, Ed?
I'm going to suggest be really dull and get as much strain back as you possibly can from them.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the sensible thing to do. You know how I tried to do that seek earlier, and I found where the thing was? Can I suddenly get another flash as my force power tells me where the master key is, and it's nearby,
Master key for what?
to get the ship, rather than having to go to reception to break in?
No, but what I will say is that the receptionist, fleeing the clear and obvious badness that is going on in and around this building,
Fleeing the various things.
but for a triumph, runs out into the cargo bay towards the ship just as Prinkle crashes through in the speeder and knocks them off their feet, causing them to spill the keys conveniently nearby, at which point they don't realise, pick up and just carry on running out the building.
Follow me, I know where the key to the Lancer is.
When you say follow, do you mean pick up and, you point and I'll carry?
Please, where's my other pistol?
Lasa's standing there holding a rather ornate pistol.
Hang on to it, we might need it. Let's get out of here.
You start heading down through all the building. The sprinkler system has now kicked in response to the fire in the drinks cabinet. That is not helping because this is an alcohol fire. If you start putting water on alcohol fire, what it does is spread the fire out a little bit more. Probably. Certainly whatever spirits that Cyphers is a Skakoan. What he drinks is probably, bad for you. There's almost certainly some stuff in there that's largely oil-based. Either way, that fire is bad. The sprinklers are pouring down and causing further chaos. You make your way down to the cargo bay. You see Prinkle backed up against the speeder, hands in the air, looking very, very nervous. 6 Steve droids with their pistols out are advancing on Prinkle, their eyes glowing with that red light that the original Steve got when you turned against it and started attacking it. All of their shiny chromium bodies have flipped round to their camouflage. They're advancing in on Prinkle, who is looking increasingly concerned as you pop out into the cargo bay.
It's alright, we got your back! She takes out her data sight and just presses the automatic shutdown button for the Steves.
As you burst in, the Steves turn to look at you and you press the button, and then with like a shuddering ripple, all of them, their eyes go blank. Their camouflage patterning flicks back round to being shiny chrome, and they slump forward in place, guns hanging down limply by their side. Prinkle looks up.
Hello, my friends. I was starting to get a little bit worried there. Shall we go?
And he gestures towards the starships.
No need to get worried there, my friend. This is exactly how heists go. I pick up one of the hide hats and put it on my head. Isn't it great?
Prinkle opens the back of the stretch speeder and starts dragging out Lasa's go bag and Oberon's rifle in its case and all the various bits. In the excitement of what's going on, he doesn't appear to have noticed that the orb is in Lasa's go bag again, tucked away at the bottom. Just the sheer adrenaline of what's happening seems to have overridden that for at least the moment.
Jiren puts on his resplendent coat and for a second looks like the spaciest space pimp of all with his hat, leather wide-brimmed hat on and fantastic coat.
And then a bag gets thrown at him by Lasa. Make yourself useful.
Never.
Picking up these keys, does it just open the Lancer or does it open the other ship?
It's just the Lancer keys.
I think Agatha's intention at the minute is to drop Oberon with a stim pack in the cockpit of whichever ship we open first, and then go back to help Prinkle with the luggage.
Yeah, you kind of, he was over your shoulder being helped down because he's very exhausted.
I'm assisting.
The name Rilko's Twist is written on the front of the Lancer, and you pile onto the ship, dragging in what little luggage you have and what sundries and supplements that you bought, knowing full well the plan was to steal a ship and get off here if at all possible.
All right, I've got one question. I'm guessing that the Star Destroyer is going to come after us, and that's fine. I can understand that. We're going to have to get away from the Star Destroyer. But that other little ship that might come after us, has anyone got anything to blow up that other little ship? This is quite exciting now, isn't it? I'm quite enjoying this. You can see she's getting a little bit hyper.
Yes, we do. We have this ship.
We can blow up that ship with this ship.
I quite like Lancers. They do this. Click. Zzz. And I prime it. Everybody's strapped. Have we got everything? Or is everyone strapped in?
Yes.
Yep, all right.
Good. And at that point, we launch.
Lasa, do you flip the landing pad cover open?
I do. I press that button and
Nope.
in all
sorry,
the
I'm really
excitement,
tired.
I forgot.
This is rubbish, this is.
It's opening up. It's fantastic. You can see this kind of slight mania in her eyes now. She's fired a pistol. She's crushed a droid. She's about to blow up the place she wanted to blow up. It's all getting very fun.
And I think this episode ends as you fly Rilko's Twist out of the Orcal Collective compound. The smoke is starting to trickle out and pour up. It's not burning down, but metaphorically it's ruined. And I think we're going to pause as you lift out of the Orcal Collective compound, because how you get away with the Star Destroyer, whether you land somewhere else first of all to lay low, that is something that we will find out next time. Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for this season is Unholy Night by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. If you like the show and want to interact with us, we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, all of which are at Force Majeure Pod, though Twitter is probably where you're going to find us more regularly. If you enjoy what we do and want to support the show, there's 3 ways you can do that. The first is via our Patreon at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod. The second is by buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod. And the third way is by rating and reviewing us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere where you can find us. We really like reviews. It tells us that we're telling the stories that you want to hear and helps other people find us. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.